From 1863 to 1869, about 15,000 Chinese immigrants worked for the Central Pacific Railroad Company. Rather than being valued for building America, they faced growing xenophobia and assaults after they completed the Transcontinental Railroad. As the economy slumped, they became scapegoats until one man stood up for their rights.
Wang Xinfu was probably the most famous Chinese in the United States in the late 19th century. Although he's not very well remembered today, he really ought to be.
Do we eat rats? I have a standing offer of $500 to anyone who can prove the Chinese eat rats and cats. That's why I go around the country giving lectures. For as the Bible says, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free.
Wang Chien-fu defied stereotypes, taking on anyone who stood in his way of recognizing Chinese as equals. With eloquence, he worked to repeal the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, which lasted 60 years, and fuels anti-Asian violence down to this day. Learn how Wang Chien-fu coined the term Chinese American through his bilingual newspaper and fought for the rights of citizenship.
This year we did a book called American Heathen, which is the life story, more or less, of a man named Wang Chien-fu. So Wang Chien-fu was a Chinese immigrant to the United States in the late 19th century. He's the first person on record to ever use the term Chinese American. But it's essentially the story of him advocating in many ways for Chinese American rights at a time when it was just not thought possible.
We're looking at the way plots are structured, the way characters have arcs. There are certain things that are common to all different kinds of storytelling, whether you're writing scripts, whether you're writing a novel, whether you're doing a graphic novel.
The Stanford Graphic Novel Project, in 2 quarters, teaches a group of amateurs how to structure, research, and draw a graphic novel, and then publishes it at the end. All of the art that you see, all of the scenes were written by the students.
The requirements for the subject matter of the Stanford graphic novel is that it has to be grounded in real life, so it has to be nonfiction, and it has to be related to a social issue.
The first one in American history, first of all, to invent the word Chinese America. Before him, that word did not exist. And because he helped claim America for the Chinese immigrants here, because we were excluded. And he was the first one to say that, no, we belong here. And then he founded in New York's Chinatown the first newspaper called Chinese American paper.
Citizen Wang creates its story structure from factual accounts, speeches, and writings by Wang Chien-fu.
When I was a teenager, I heard my uncle talk about Wang Chien-fu, so I knew I had such a great-great-grandfather who was an American Chinese civil rights leader.
There are many elements presented through interviews with subject matter experts, like academics, historians, and authors.
You can try to be making a difference in American society through comedic, even personality, and I treasure that about him. I think he's not just a kind of boring and respectable advocate for rights. Those are all very important to me. I think he's a sparkling American personality.
Reenactments, archive photos, films, and paintings, and even Chinese puppets bring history alive, so viewers will appreciate Wang Chien-fu's life of activism and journalism. Wang challenges Irish demagogue Dennis Carney, whose mission is to eradicate Chinese from the continent, to a duel and heckles him at Cooper Union in New York, giving him his choice of weapon: chopsticks, Irish potatoes, or Krupp guns. Carney, who has turned up his anti-Chinese rhetoric to fuel his political ambition, finally relents to a public debate that Wang famously wins. To bring audiences closer to understanding Wang Qinfu the man, documentary producers have chosen to reenact certain historical events with actors at authentic locations where Wang lived and worked.
No. 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 Thrice I say no. That there is no such a God in heaven. That there is no such a tyrant on earth. And there is no such a cruel nation should be permitted to do such a thing in this 19th century.
On this map from 1890, we trace Wang Qinfu's travel by train to San Francisco, Chicago, New York City, and Washington, D.C., with other important locations on sites at Truckee and Locke, California. It is vital Wang's stories are at authentic locations in China as well, where he lived before immigrating to America. Many of those sites are gone now, but these scenes will be reenacted at Hengdian World Studios, the world's largest film and TV shooting base located in China.
Vicious hate crimes against Asian Americans who've been attacked, harassed, blamed, and scapegoated. At this very moment, so many of them are fellow Americans. They're on the front lines of this pandemic trying to save lives. And still, they're forced to live in fear for their lives just walking down streets in America. It's wrong, it's un-American, and it must stop.
Stand up!
From New York
Stand up, fight back!
to LA.
You know, now is the time for us to stand up, my brother.
To San Francisco.
My sisters!
What started as an idea between rapper China Mac
Did you really earn your stripes?
and actor Will Lex Ham has now become a national movement. It's called They Can't Burn Us All.
And so we basically went around the country and we spoke with 300 of the top API leaders, from community activists to nonprofit leaders to CEOs to Olympic gold medalists. And we asked them, what would you do if you were to change the outcome, visibility, and so forth of our community? And everyone, of course, said the same four things, because we're all more similar than we are different. The first is none of us support each other, which is why we created the single largest collective of API leaders. Second is we hate how we're represented in media. Our women are grossly objectified. Our men are emasculated. Or many of us, I should say, are gainfully employed, but none of us are getting promoted to the C-suite. As we all know, Asian women in particular are the least likely demographic to be promoted to management and secrete board positions. That's why, of course, we have the largest founder network, the nation's leading founder accelerator for APIs, as well as the Definitive Fund, so we can build our own companies where we are the CEOs. And then finally, is we didn't have collective political power that was recognized by the mainstream. The good news is there are lots of incredible organizations already doing good work there, from API Vote to Asian Americans Advancing Justice.
I discovered Wang Qinfu in 2003 when my agent sent me for a voiceover job as an actor. I happened to be assigned Wang Qinfu's voice, and when I saw his clips, I thought, how could we not know that this person existed? Everyone needs to know that he was around during the Gilded Age, advocating for Chinese to become citizens of this country. And I started doing a lot of research, and it's taken this long to come up with a play, which got produced off-Broadway in April, as well as a screenplay. And a documentary is a logical step for people to actually learn about Wang Qinfu's facts of his life.
Discover Wang Qinfu, a civil rights pioneer who paved the way for future generations to claim their rightful place in America over 140 years ago. Don't miss these stories and more on Citizen Wang.